The worst Netflix show is back for another half a season. Stereotypes, cliches, dumb characters, unrealistic storylines. This show really has it all. Except good writing.
Oh my God, are you okay? Ice, we need ice. Glass? Oh my God, no, that's ice cream.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Eric. I have a stutter and a deep obsession with death. And if you're not new here, hi. What up, Horace? So I've been in a bit of a beef with Netflix recently. It all started with 365 Days. And it's now on Emily in Paris, a show that I have watched religiously every year. I know. I don't get it either. We're on our 4th season, and Emily in Paris has come a long way. Earlier seasons relied on culture shock and Emily's inability to get her head out of her own ass and actually learn French when you're living in France. It pumped negative stereotypes like I used to pop pills at the club. Not a joke, just a fact. Using side characters as props to advance the story of the most obnoxious character we've ever had the pleasure of seeing on our TVs since Carrie Bradshaw. Fun fact, Sex and the City and Emily in Paris both created by the same person, Darren Star. So now you know who to bully online. Darren Star, who spent the better part of his career creating American characters the entire world would hate. But don't worry, no matter how much Emily tries, and boy does she try a lot, Carrie was, is, and will always be the ultimate annoying white American woman. Emily in Paris is simply an extension of Carrie's visit to Paris, minus the sex or, quite frankly, the fun. You know, sometimes it's okay to be homophobic, so I think it's time we come together as a society and collectively bully Darren Star into stopping this now. Enough is enough. We get it. But honestly, kudos to you for creating so many goddamn shows that people somehow get obsessed about. I don't know, I guess he has a talent for creating truly terrible things that somehow keep you hooked. At this point, it's not even a guilty pleasure. It's just a pleasure. It's a pleasure to watch it and tear it apart. And I hope it comes back for more seasons because that's what we deserve as a society for all of our sins. We deserve to have shows like Emily in Paris renewed year after year and great shows like Glow canceled. But back to Emily in Paris in season 4. Now that we've ditched Emily's struggles to fit in, the show truly has written itself into a corner, forced to actually develop narratives that make sense and are worthy of telling, you know, with substance. So the show does what it does best. Fucks it up. However, it also takes an unexpected, bold turn and deals with its own micro Me Too movement, which I'll admit was a nice change of pace and scenery from, you know, seeing Emily endlessly yapping her basic pitches only to come up with useless hashtags and meaningless glitzy galas to distract us from the fact that none of these people are actually doing PR or marketing. They're just throwing events. But don't worry, Emily in Paris isn't just incoherent storytelling that makes the Jennifer Lopez self-made movie and accompanying documentary look like a stroke of genius. It also pokes fun at Americans, like stating the government doesn't help its people.
No help from the government? What is this, America?
Or that abortion is still legal in France.
You think she's having an abortion?
Yes, it's not illegal in this country.
And of course, French jokes like, I don't know, French pregnant women drinking wine.
But those pregnant ladies are drinking it.
That's just regular wine.
Because us Europeans were just a bunch of savage weirdos that live in sex clubs and indoctrinate children to become trans prostitutes for the top 1%. But at its core, Emily in Paris is an American gay's wet dream of what it would be like to be an all-American white woman, moving to Paris and falling in love with perfect French men, and some English, all while proving to everyone around her that she isn't just a silly, obnoxious influencer everybody loves to hate. No. She's also a bad person who destroys people's relationships under the guise of wanting to make things better. Someone told Emily that sleeping with her bestie's boyfriend was definitely a selfless act of love and kindness, and she just ran with it. A show with no consequences for its main character. Truly, Emily lives in paradise. She gets to do whatever she wants, says whatever she wants, and in the end, she's the one who's gonna get the happy ending. So, if you don't want to wait till September, and you want to get right into things, then stick around and let me give you the lowdown redown of whatever happens. And trust me, it's not a lot. Like I said, they were forced to actually write storylines, and the ones we have are there, more power to you. One thing I'll give them though, they've included a lot more of French characters speaking French to each other, and I gotta say, that's when the acting comes out. That's when the actual storytelling comes out. It's like you're watching a completely different show, and you're not just watching Emily walk around town wearing a beret and eating baguette and saying "J'adore le tennis."
J'adore le tennis.
But before we get into things, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're not already. Click that bell notification so you never miss a future upload from me, and just go ahead and like this video. You know, we've had a long intro. You like it. You know you like it. Show it. Okay, that was creepy. So, let's talk about Mindy. Mindy started off as the go-to person for French stereotypes.
You told French people this? No wonder they hate you.
Oh, not just this. They disagree with everything I say.
That's the French way. They're very disagreeable.
What's the point of being married if you're just gonna cheat on your spouse?
Maybe after you're married for 20 years, you might feel differently. I mean, the French are romantics, but they're also realists. Yes, of course I love Paris. And the food is so delicious. The fashion, so chic. The lights, so magical. But the people, so mean.
Now, she's the cool friend whose journey we'd much rather follow than her American bestie. She's witty, she's smart, she's funny, she can sing, and she's not a prude. Emily, take notes. Unfortunately, Darren Star has a tendency to overfocus on its central, boring character, often ignoring much more interesting storylines for its supporting characters. Did you know that Mindy and her band were selected to perform at the Eurovision Song Festival? Well, maybe not the actual festival, but like the pre-selection process. And due to austerity, they have to come up with their own money to pay for the production of the performance. And you know what happens next? We don't know, because they drop this storyline. I think she sells a couple dresses in the future to get a couple of grand, but that's about it. Instead of focusing more on that, no, Mindy's story revolves around Nicolas, her rich boyfriend, and Louis, his prick billionaire father, who's a sexual abuser. And that is the central plotline that drives most of the episodes, and it's a welcome change to Emily's never-ending back and forth between the French chef and the English accountant. I don't even know if he's an accountant or not, but he wears suits all the time and he speaks posh, and he's from London. He looks like an accountant to me. Back to Mindy. After getting called a slut for the way she dresses by Louis, Nicolas apologizes to her by letting her shop the brand closet. The brand being LVMH. It's like a huge multi-brand business corporation. They're really rich and evil. And at this brand closet, she is told by two female workers that she's not supposed to be there without a chaperone. Turns out, Louis, the misogynistic asshole billionaire, has had a habit over the past decades of picking out the outfits for his female employees and forcing them to change in front of him. Situations where saying no implies that you don't know enough about the fashion business, and also you probably won't have a career at this company. Fortunately, she immediately confides in Emily, who in turn confides in Sylvie, her boss, when she sees Sylvie having lunch with Louis and her hot husband. This lunch is because Louis is basically investing in Sylvie's hot husband new business venture, a yacht club in the middle of Paris. And I'm just glad that they just cleaned the river for the Olympics, you know, imagine. So the investment, turns out, is Louis's way of buying Sylvie's silence, because Sylvie used to work for Louis as his assistant, and she has been contacted several times through the first few episodes by a media company, a major news media outlet, who's working on an expose gathering testimonies of past workers of Louis, exposing his bad behaviors and hopefully bringing about some consequences, holding him accountable for his actions. And if at first Sylvie was reticent to contribute to this article, mainly because she didn't want to be seen as a victim, she wanted to prove that her career came from her hard work, she eventually lends her voice to the cause when she finds out through Emily that the behavior hasn't changed at all in decades. The article comes out, Louis is disgraced.
He was my inspiration. Men can't keep their dicks in their pants. Why should we pretend otherwise?
Nicolas is forced to choose whether to stay loyal to his father or to stay loyal to his girlfriend and literally everybody on the right side of history. Luckily, he makes the right decision and they stay together. And that's kind of it for Mindy and Nicolas. Louis, of course, then pulls the investment out of the yacht club, and Sylvie's hot husband, luckily, thank God, supports her, because this could have very easily veered off into he sees her as putting her own interests ahead of his own future and wanting to sabotage his business venture, because they have like a kind of a rocky relationship. But luckily, no, he recognizes that was important, says he's proud of her, and lends her his entire support. It was a welcome change to what is still the worst thing Netflix has ever made. Well, second worst. The worst one is Rebel Moon by Zack Snyder. Check that out. There's 2 of them. But worry not, because there is still plenty of innocuous drama the series is so well known for. Enter Emily's love triangle. Square. Pentagon. So last season ended with Camille leaving Gabriel at the altar and Alfie breaking up with Emily, and then the revelation that Camille is pregnant. In season 4, Camille has gone missing, and the only person capable of finding her is... No, not her ex-fiancé. No, also not her girlfriend. No, not her best friends. Oh god, no, not her family for sure. No, it's Emily, of course. Emily in Paris, that's the name of the show. Duh. So after outing Camille's lesbian affair to her heterosexual ex-fiancé, yes, Emily does that. She does that when she assumes Camille is with Sophia and wants Gabriel and Camille's family to stop worrying. She's just like, no, she's with her lesbian lover in Greece. Emily finds Camille actually at the house of Claude Monet, where the artist lived and painted for 43 years. Yes, the actual house. See, when they're not spending hundreds of thousands of dollars bribing the Golden Globes committee for a couple of nominations, they actually spend all that money in gorgeous locations to distract you from whatever dialogue is happening in the background. It's some bullshit, but look at this beautiful house in this culturally relevant setting. The pond. Wow. So after outing Camille for no reason, she convinces her to return to Paris after nearly drowning them both in the process. I just want to know, how much did they pay to film this in this place? Like, if they actually used the pond behind the house in that location, what the f***? Who are they bribing? Okay, who is being blackmailed? Who has naughty pictures of themselves online? Who's done some crimes and doesn't want them exposed to allow this to happen? Now, if it's a replica set, well done. Sophia and Emily go back to Paris, and there they find Gabriel and Sophia talking. At this point, Alfie, who broke up with Emily at the end of season 3, came back at the beginning of season 4 to make things a little more final, you know? So they share a kiss needed for an ad campaign, and I should remind people that this is France, not the US, so forcing employees to make out with their ex-partners for a campaign is illegal and very inappropriate. So just okay. But they part ways amicably. The relationship is over. And of course, a love square wasn't tricky enough for Emily. So when Emily and Gabriel don't immediately jump into each other's pants and get together, Alfie assumes that Emily was telling the truth when she swore that she was over Gabriel and she was over trying to make that work because it was never going to work. I think Emily should have stuck with that and just gotten over Gabriel. Like, another thing that pisses me off, why does she call him Gabriel? Why not Gabriel? You know, you're speaking in English. It's like, are you going to start saying croissant instead of croissant? Are you going to start saying McDonald's instead of McDonald's? Like, if you're going to pronounce this, so she could easily call him Gabriel, but instead she calls him Gabriel. Okay. Alfie returns in episode 3, willing to get back together with Emily. Give it another shot. But of course, Gabriel decides that very same night, for the first time in 3.5 seasons, that he's gonna do something other than just stand there, look pretty while cooking. And he makes a move on Emily. He puts on a little mask and goes to this stupid gala that makes no sense and makes a move. By the way, this masked gala is an event to launch a new fragrance called Heartbreak. And they're throwing a masquerade ball because it's significant to the fragrance. Ask me how. According to Emily, when you're heartbroken, sometimes you don't want to show that to other people. You want to hide your heartbreak. And what's better to hide your heartbreak than a mask? Therefore, masquerade ball. I swear I made more sense when I was trying to convince my parents why I needed my first iPhone. This reminds me of the alleged PowerPoint presentation that Emma Stone made to her parents to move to Hollywood, justify the move and how she was going to have a huge career. Well, guess what? Emma Stone was fucking right. Emily? No. Forced to make a choice by heteronormative standards that she so obsessively lives by and this show treats as an all-time religion. Emily chooses Gabriel, the French chef, leaving Alfie, the English accountant, ditched as a character completely. He just has a little outburst saying he hates masquerade balls. This is why. Because his ex-girlfriend chose her ex-boyfriend instead of him. And that's it. No more Alfie. Alfie, I thank you for your service. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of him, and I'm sure it's going to be just as dumb. Thus begins the love square that isn't really a love square and is really just an American trying to make sense of the mess that he wrote himself into. I'm talking to you, Darren Star. Camille and Sophia are living with Gabriel, leaving him and Emily with very little privacy to do the sexing they keep talking about but never actually do. This forces them to get creative, and they end up having sex on the rooftop of their building, which, judging by the green screen, I'd confidently say is the exact same set used in the history-making film The Room. There's candles, and I'm not joking when I say I really hope none of these candles accidentally falls on them overnight, setting the blankets on fire and killing them both in a horrible, bizarre accident. That would be so terrible. Right? No, but this sexcapade also inspires Emily for a pitch at work. Embrace the gray areas, living in undefined terms, which is so cute and sexy for like a few minutes. And then she's like, actually, this is way too much for me. I can't handle it. I need my boyfriend to live by himself. I don't want him to support his baby mama. This is because Emily has one singular purpose: to be the all-American white girl who moves to France and struggles to adapt to their culture. And though she eventually embraces many aspects of Parisian culture, she must also remain at her core a very well-behaved, heteronormative American who would never defile herself with uninhibited pleasure. We're romanticizing Paris, not portraying sexual deviance, Important distinction. She likes Gabriel, and though a sexcapade can be fun, it's not sustainable. Otherwise, what comes next? Emily learns French. Emily stops working 24/7 to prove herself to people who don't like her anyway and starts living as a European would with a healthy life-work balance. No. Emily lives to work, which they told us eons ago. And she is working overdrive. From being at the beck and call of her job 24/7 to doing marketing for Gabriel's restaurant, trying to get him a Michelin star, attending parties every single night, all while sleeping 8 hours a night and being a fashionista in her own right. Emily has got to be on so much cocaine, it's a miracle her nose is still attached to her face. But back to what matters the most, Emily's self-interests. She wants Gabriel to live alone, again, because she needs to get her pounded without having to do it in fun and innovative ways. So one day, after pregnant Camille and her Greek lover spend the entire day looking for a place to stay and tell her how much they struggle to find a place to stay, Emily runs out of patience and snitches to the landlord. Yes, she tells the landlord there's too many people living in that house, which in turn causes the landlord to kick Camille and Sophia out of that place. They have one day to move out. And yes, Emily really is that evil. And no, the show doesn't think it's evil, so much so that later we discover that Gabriel did exactly the same thing to his ex-fiancée. Yep, Gabriel also snitched to the landlord. I don't know, but the show seems to think that it's a very cute romantic thing that signals how much Emily and Gabriel care for each other. Camille and her baby, who cares? Now, the plan backfires because, as it turns out, there's an apartment completely empty right next door to Gabriel, ready to be moved into. So that's what they do. Camille and Sophia rent the apartment right next to Gabriel. Unfortunately, their relationship also suffers, mainly because Sophia popped over to Paris to check up on Camille and ended up committed to raising a literal child with her. That's a bit much. I mean, talk about stereotypes that lesbians move a bit too quickly. So one evening, after having spent the entire day shopping for furniture for their new place, Sophia just packs a bag and gets out. She does tell Camille in the meantime, like, you're welcome to come to Athens if you want. I'll support you there. I just can't stay here because I don't have a life here. And Camille is left heartbroken as Gabriel and Emily profess their love for each other. And can we all just agree collectively that Emily and Gabriel have literally zero chemistry? Like, why are we supposed to care about these two? Like, look at this kiss. What is that? This is the night they actually finally get together, and this is what they do. Darren Star, pop off. But then we have the mid-season finale, the drama du jour, the reason why we all watch this show. More stupid drama, more cliche, more storylines that we've seen 1,000 times. This is taken straight from a soap opera, Days of Our Lives, Hollyoaks, whatever show has been going on for 40, 50, 60 years, those kinds of storylines. Guess what? Camille goes to the doctor and finds out that she's not pregnant. In fact, she's never been pregnant. That was a very rare but possible false positive that was probably caused by medication she was taking at the time, and she stopped having her period for a few months due to stress, which also happens. So Camille mourns the death of the child that never was, never will be, and quite frankly never could have been, the only way possible. drinking wine and smoking cigarettes. Camille decides to tell Gabriel the truth, but of course, we have a part 2 coming in a month, so we can't just wrap it up right now. So Camille is about to break the news to Gabriel when he expresses his extreme happiness with his smart, intelligent girlfriend Emily and the coming birth of his child with Camille. His happiness is such that she cannot bring herself to crush his heart. Or maybe it's because she is scared of losing Gabriel and not having an identity outside of their relationship. And that's the end. And for the preview of part 2, it says on September 12th, season 4 continues to chic things up. Chic things up. Isn't that fun? This is just a fun show. Like, let's chic it up. Let's chic it up. I don't even know if it's good enough to hate watch anymore, you know? Now that they're kind of... Like, it's obvious that they're now making an effort, whereas in season 1, it was just, let's just be as offensive and stereotypical and dumb as possible. I think now they're actually making an effort. I mean, it's not as bad as before, but they're not succeeding in any way, shape, or form. So it's like, I feel bad, but it's like, what are we going to do? You know? I guess I'll root for them to continue on this upward trajectory. Maybe by season 40, we'll have a good story in our hands. But until then, goddamn, these romantic triangles and squares and pentagons and Emily just existing, her personality so grating. I don't know, maybe they should just kill her off again in a weird, bizarre accident, her and Gabriel, and then focus more on Camille raising her child with Sophia, and also Mindy becoming a famous pop star again. That would be a show that I'd watch. Oh, and of course, Sylvie and her hot husband being moguls of yacht clubs and nightclubs everywhere. That's hot. I don't think there's going to be any more Golden Globe nominations because I think they stopped bribing people once they got caught the first time, but you never know. Keep your eyes peeled. If they get any nominations, that was why. The flights must have been expensive. Private jets and everything. Stick around in September. We'll come back to part 2. I cannot wait to see what happens now. You know, we've got Mindy dating her prick boyfriend, Nicolas. We've got Sylvie and her hot husband, happier than ever. Emily with her hot chef, Camille hiding a fake pregnancy. God knows what's going to happen there. There's not really much set up, you know. She reveals she's not pregnant. Emily and Gabriel get on with their lives. She goes back to Sophia. They all live happily ever after. Don't know why we'd need a season 5, guys. Season 4 can be it. This is it. Oh, and of course, Mindy goes to Eurovision and becomes a pop star again. And hopefully stops being friends with Emily, because I feel like Mindy can grow a lot more without being in the presence of that obnoxious, constant yapping in her ear. So the yapping is Emily. So this is like Emily. And I'm Mindy, and she's constantly like, you know? And Mindy's like trying to be funny. She's like a charismatic person. She's throwing around jokes and being really cool in herself. And there's just Emily like, I don't want to have sex. I am such a prude. Who do I pick? The chef or the accountant? And Mindy's like, yo, should I sell pictures of my feet? I don't know. I used to do that when I was 16. It's kind of bad going back to the same. And Emily's like, oh my God, I can't believe you just saw pictures of feet. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, again, leave it a like down below. Subscribe to my channel. Click that bell notification so you don't miss any future upload from me. And yeah, comment down below what's your favorite thing about watching Emily in Paris. Is it how much you want to scream at the TV or how much you want to throw stuff at it? I'm constantly torn between the two, but I also don't want to destroy anything because I can't afford another TV. So I just scream at it. It's great therapy. Gets all the rage out. Yeah, cool. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay Parisienne. Bye, guys.